Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back to another live show. And if you're watching this at approximately 10:45 p.m. New York City time, this is a live show. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything, and that being obviously the Parrot Anafi, the upcoming, what we feel is probably going to be the Mavic Pro 2, and the Autel Evo. And kind of in line with drones. We've got a lot of people tuning in. Welcome aboard, everyone. Share this on your social media. Obviously, comment within the video's comments, and we can interact in real time. But kind of related to drones is the DJI Ronin S. And I'm going to grab that really quick. So this thing has been a lot of fun, and it's actually quite large. I mean, it is. If you have this in your hands, if you're looking at it when you're watching it on the video right now, you know it looks big, but when you've got it in your hands, I mean, it feels super well made. I mean, the construction quality of this. Echo Hobbies from Memphis, welcome aboard. $1 Snake, hi, welcome aboard. $1 Snake. So this thing is it's super heavy, it's super well made, and what's cool is that this piece on the bottom, it's just got like a standard tripod, screw type tripod, and it's got a larger screw type tripod. So it's kind of cool that you're not locked into DJI specific accessories. That's something I've always hated with with camera accessory manufacturers, when they try to create some sort of proprietary connection so you can't use it with everything that you want to. What's cool about this, I could attach this to the top of most any tripod. I could, Max Silvassa, welcome aboard. I could use this that came with it. This is nice because it pops out. It makes like a tripod if you want to sit it down. I was never interested in the previous Ronin models because they weren't one-handed. And one of the things that you may not have thought about with the previous Ronin models, if you were using those, there wasn't a convenient way to just sit it down. I will tell you, this thing is super heavy. And keep in mind, this camera and lens are super lightweight because I'm using the A7 III, not the S3, but the A7 III, and an ultra, what's very lightweight prime 25mm prime lens. But the Ronin itself is super heavy. So this thing is capable of a lot more than this A7 III. So if you had a lot larger and a lot heavier camera, there's a lot of cameras that will still function with this Ronin S. So it's a very cool tool. Check out my first field test video that I posted today, and I'm just getting my Sean Coonery, just getting my feet wet with it. So as I learn more, I'll share the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the initial impressions are, obviously, the build quality is excellent. I ran it for a few hours today, didn't even put a dent in the battery life. This does not have interchangeable batteries. So, if you're in a situation where you're going to be filming for a long duration of time, you may want to take a battery bank in the field with you. What's cool is that it recharges by way of a, whoa, excuse me, excuse you. That's Sean Coonery. It recharges by way of a standard USB-C connection. So it's it's very easy to charge it if you're in a car, you're in a boat, you've got a battery bank, maybe you got solar panels attached to your battery bank. So it's super convenient. I like how DJI has not locked this down to making you use their chargers, their car chargers, this, that, and the other. So that's nice. But I mean, this thing is very professional. If you do video work, which I do a lot of, I obviously do a lot of professional video work, and this is just a good tool to be able to provide your clients with that even more professional looking footage. So it's a cool device. You have to think of it as my hands, and in a lot of scenarios where you couldn't fly a drone because of regulations, or just maybe maybe it's not an environment where where drone flying would be well suited. You know, this is a great way to capture that drone look, but not have to fly a drone. So anyway, that's one of the big things, one of the big new things here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, and I just got this Friday, so today was my first day in the field with it. So, you know, I posted that first field test video with the DJI Ronin S throughout the next few days. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Again, I'm not an expert. I just got it, but I did run into several troubleshooting challenges, one of which was this cable here. And you can see it's positioned in front of the camera. This cable is actually it's got a little infrared sensor. So think about a TV remote or a camera remote that uses infrared. That's what it's doing. So in essence, when you push the record button on the Ronin S, when you push the record button on the Ronin S, it sends a signal out this infrared cable, which basically functions like a remote that's cabled into this. So initially, when I was playing with this, setting it up, since my A7 III has both USB-C and micro USB, and the Ronin S came with a USB-C and a micro USB cable, my assumption is that I would just cable it into it. The documentation provided with the Ronin S, at least my Ronin S, you know, was somewhat vague. It didn't say, hey, if you're using Sony, you know, you need to use the infrared. But, you know, I was assuming since my Sony had micro USB and USB-C that I would use those cables that came with the Ronin S, and I was going crazy. I was updating firmware. I was double checking, triple checking, trying to find all of this, and then finally, I'm like, you know what? The only thing I haven't tried is the third cable that came with my Ronin S. That third cable being this cable with the infrared tip versus a USB-C or micro USB, and sure enough, that worked. So anyway, it's been a fun experience so far. The app says it's 100% balanced, but I'm not 100% sure that you know, that it's balanced, and that's, I'm going to tinker around with it some more. Watch my first day in the field video and tell me what you think. Nate Sarag, welcome aboard. Real quick, I ordered the Parrot drone but saw the Evo drone. Should I cancel and order the Evo? You know, it's one of those situations. I can say I've ordered the Parrot Anafi, and by the way, if you're looking for that, check my website, Irix, or just go to epicdroneshow.com, and you can find the Parrot Anafi there. I personally ordered the Parrot Anafi, and I know that, you know, after ordering that, it seems that DJI is coming out with a new drone within the next few weeks, which will probably be Mavic Pro 2. But Sean Odd says hello from Nashville. Nashville, very cool place. Actually, I do a lot of work in the Franklin area outside of Nashville. A very good place, man. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I can't recommend Parrot Anafi or Autel Evo. I can't recommend either. But what I can do, because I haven't flown them yet, but what I can do is share with you why I ordered the Anafi and why I did not order the Evo. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that AP says I think dogs should vote, and I think that I think if dogs vote, cats need to get a chance too. And I think Sean Coonery here sitting in the studio would be pretty irritated. So, yeah. So I can't make a recommendation, but again, I'll tell you why I ordered the Parrot Anafi and why I did not order the Evo. DJI Phantom, which wasn't too big, is you know, it was more like a toy. Now, obviously, it's not a toy because it's an air. You know, the performance of the Parrot was toy-like, and we're talking about the Bebop. We're not talking about the new Anafi, but it was. Hold on, I got security alert. 1 second here. Let me check this out. Make sure everything's hunky-dory. Okay, we're good. So, yeah. So the original Parrot, the Bebop, was more of a toy than it was a tool because it didn't use a gimbal. It had software stabilized video, whereas the Phantom had gimbal stabilized video. And there's no way that, at least with the Parrot Bebop, there was no way that it could compete with a gimbal stabilized solution, but it did have the small travel size and a small travel weight going for it. But where they also failed is when they released a Sky controller for the Parrot Bebop. The thing was huge. So the fact that you had a small and lightweight drone, the huge and obnoxious Sky controller completely negated the portability edge that Bebop had. And so then Parrot kind of wasted time, and then they released Bebop 2. I never picked up Bebop 2 because it just looked like a glorified refresh to the Bebop 1. Although I know a lot of people that use Bebop 2 and they liked it, but I don't know how much experience they may have had with DJI drones with gimbal stabilized video. Maybe they weren't even concerned with video. Maybe they were just having a fun time with it and enjoying the flips and this, that, and the other. But back to the question, should I buy Evo or should I buy a Nafi? So the reason I pre-ordered a Nafi is that a Nafi, it looks like Parrot is serious. Now, a Nafi does not have obstacle avoidance, and I know that's turned a lot of people away. Now, I will tell you, I appreciate obstacle avoidance because it makes a drone be perceived as more safe, and drone safety should be paramount. We gotta enable this hobby to continue to exist, and avoid all of the potential over-regulations that could come as a result of people misusing drones. So, from that perspective, I like obstacle avoidance. For my day-to-day use, I don't need obstacle avoidance because, number one, I'm an experienced pilot, and number two, even my drones that have obstacle avoidance, like the Mavic Air, which I love, that's my favorite drone on the market today, it's not something I use. I mean, it's turned on unless I'm flying through trees and stuff, but it's something I don't assume exists. But a lot of people are using the absence of obstacle avoidance to give Parrot and Nafi a bad name. The other thing that people are using to give Parrot and Nafi a bad name is the is the fact that there's supposed to be paid in-app updates. So if you want to unlock certain intelligent flight, well, Parrot uses a different name, I'm sure. But if you want to unlock certain autonomous flight modes within the Parrot and Nafi, there is probably a paid thing in the app, which I think is kind of goofy. Echo Hobby says, Sean says, I work in Franklin, let me know when you're in town. Will do, dude. Echo Hobby says, ever heard of Feiyu Tech gimbals? Yes, I have. Actually, I've got a review of a Feiyu Tech that I used with a GoPro a while back in Turks and Caicos, and posted a few reviews down there. I'm using an A7 III with a very affordable A1000 gimbal. Works very well for me. You know what? That's interesting because I had a good time with the Feiyu gimbal with the GoPro, so that would definitely be one to check out. Again, this DJI Ronin S is super big and super heavy, but again, it's excellent build quality, and this is something that I would use. I wouldn't necessarily have it in my travel kit if I was carrying a lot of other gear. But if I wasn't carrying a lot of other gear, I probably would. I mean, it's still convenient to travel with, but it's definitely going to have it's definitely going to occupy a good bit of space and weight. But this breaks down. This piece comes off. This piece detaches. What I would like to see DJI do is release a just a very minimalist, or a third party release a minimalist case, something that you could put this piece in, the grip in, and then the little tripod piece in, because that would be great. Just throw it in a bag with your other camera and drone gear and hit the road. So, but what's funny, this, as small as drones are now with the Mavic Air, traveling with this plus a Mavic Air, you're still leaps ahead of where you were when you were traveling with just a Phantom alone. So it's amazing how things have changed. Sean says the Sky Controller 2 is small. Yeah, the Sky Controller 2, and now is it the Sky Controller 2 that comes with the Anafi? Because that controller looks really cool. I'm excited about it. It almost reminds me, and that was one thing I felt that GoPro did right, and I hate it for GoPro that GoPro failed with the Karma, but one thing that I felt GoPro did right with the Karma was that controller. That controller for the GoPro Karma was slick. It had a good screen, it had a good form factor, it had a good feel. That thing was slick. So hopefully the Parrot Anafi's controller will be on par with what GoPro released with the Karma. Nathalion123, DJI showed off a drone called the Phantom X years ago. Is it ever going to come out? you know what? That could be what's coming, because we've seen a lot of radio silence with the Phantom. Now they released a new, was it Phantom 4 Pro version 2? Like a minor refresh. I wouldn't consider that a new drone, but maybe that signals that, hey, you may be right. Maybe it's Phantom X is coming instead of Mavic Pro 2, and that could make sense because Mavic Air is doing so well and justifiably slow. I mean, it's an awesome drone. If they released Mavic Pro 2, that could potentially cannibalize sales of Mavic Air, which I'm assuming is doing very well because it's my favorite drone on the market today, and that's not just because it's the newest drone from DJI. Sean says, bring on the in-app purchases. Sean says, I purchased the Parrot Flight Plan upgrade several years ago, and it still isn't rivaled by DJI. Very cool. I'm excited about that. Not excited about having to pay money for upgrades within the app, but if it's providing a better piloting experience, what, a few bucks here and there may be worth it. Sean says, Sky Controller 3 is with the Anafi, same size. Cool. The only one I dealt with, again, was the Bebop controller. So that was the original massive Sky controller. So I haven't touched anything since that one. Actually, this will be my first Parrot drone since the Parrot Bebop, because after I played with the Bebop, I took a vacation. It wasn't. And it wasn't for me because I'm all about video, and I couldn't get the video stability, the video quality. I mean, obviously it was software stabilized, but Parrot has been in the game for a while. And back to the original question, should I buy Evo or should I buy an Anafi? And I did buy an Anafi, and the reason is, and I don't have anything against Evo, but here's what I do have against Evo. And I shouldn't say Evo, I should say Autel. So the original Autel's been around for a little while, but the original Autels, they kind of looked like spitting images of the Phantom, and then it seems like they kind of disappeared from the market. But then Autel announced a drone at CES in calendar year 2017, CES 2017, and that drone looked really cool. It promised modular camera options, blah blah blah, but that drone never materialized. So now it's the Evo, which kind of looks like its own creation. It doesn't look like a Mavic Pro or Mavic Air clone, but it's that's definitely what they were going after, or whatever it seems, was that look and form factor. But I mean, I don't know. That's a ton of money. And I hope the drone does well, because DJI deserves competition, and competition can spark innovation and can spark better prices for upcoming drones. But the price point, and a lot of people have stated, well, if it does all this, it's worth that money. Yeah, I would say if that was a DJI drone that did all that, I think the price point would be justified. But that's only because DJI's got a reputation. You're a new player coming in, and you're charging that much. Maybe it's worth it. But what if it's just kind of a fly-by-night drone company, and they release it, and then you can't get the batteries, and you can't get other accessories? I mean, yeah, it's the fear of the unknown. But a lot of people have, what is it called, the FOMO, the fear of missing out. So there's a lot of people that are jumping on the Evo bandwagon, and that's great. And I applaud that act. And I'm watching, I'll be watching the Autel Evo from the sidelines because I'm excited about it. It looks good on paper, and I think that, if it does become successful, definitely that can spark price wars among drone manufacturers, and it can also spark more rapid innovation. I mean, this announcement of a new DJI drone coming in a few weeks, that seemed to come out of thin air. Did it really come out of thin air? Or was that a reaction to the Autel and the Anafi releasing? And DJI felt that they had to put themselves back in the spotlight with something new. Or was it the other way around? Did a company like Autel and Parrot did those two companies receive word that DJI was coming out with something new, and did they rush their products to the market? Rush their products to market, rather. So, there's two ways to look at that. So, Sean says the Evo controller looks awesome. Sean says it's like Litchi, but from the manufacturer. Talking about the Parrot Anafi app. Maxwell Bassa, Mavic Air is my first GPS drone, and it amazes me every time I fly it. I use it as a handheld gimbal camera while riding my bike today after watching your video. Yeah, that's a cool. The hand holding, obviously when the propellers aren't spinning, but hand holding a Mavic Air as a handheld gimbal is a very cool use case. And I mean that drone, and that's cool. You like it, man, because like, I've been flying drones since Phantom 1, and I will say Phantom. So it's Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 2 Vision Plus, Phantom 3 Pro, Phantom 4, Phantom 4 Pro, Mavic Pro, and now Mavic Air. And out of all those drones that I've owned and flown, the Mavic Air is my favorite. And it's cool because, and it's not just because it's the smallest and most lightweight drone. Well, Spark's smaller, but Spark doesn't do 4K. But it's just the fact that, you get such awesome performance out of such a small form factor, and that's performance just from the quality of flight experience, the quality of video, the high dynamic range, the HDR. And like you were saying, I mean, you were riding a bike and using the Mavic Air, and I mean that's with something as large as a DJI Phantom, that would be an act that would be unheard of. So it's opened up a whole new realm of possibilities. And I mean that's just super cool. Echo Hobby says, I do like the idea of having a small screen on the transmitter. Yeah, a small screen, that is nice. I mean, using your using your iPhone or your Android phone, that works, but it's not always optimal because I mean those devices they're used to communicate with people. So, when you're flying a drone, you're down a device because to be safe and responsible. When I'm flying a drone, I put it into airplane mode so I don't get distracted. After all, I am a pilot. When I'm flying the drone, I'm a pilot. So it's tech for your needs. Talking about how heavy is the gimbal. You know what? That's a video I need to do, is weigh the gimbal without the camera attached. So what I need to do a how heavy is the DJI Ronin S, and so I could weigh the tripod piece right here. I could weigh this battery. The battery's inside this piece, by the way. I could weigh it by itself, and then I could weigh this by itself without the camera attached. So we could get the overall weight for the Ronin S, and then the weight for the various components. And then I can also weigh it with the Sony A7 III on top of it. And actually, no, I don't want to bring that scale over here because Sean Coonery's sleeping in the studio, and if I get up to bring the scale over here, that would disrupt his sleep. So I'll save that for a separate video. But let me add it to I've got a to-do list on my phone. I just keep a running to-do list for videos. And let me add that to it. Excuse me. How much does Ronin S weigh? Cool, man. I've added that to my to-do list, so stay tuned. Appreciate the question. Again, always looking for new video topics, and that's a good one. Yeah, it's built like a tank. So, yeah, Parrot Anafi and Evo, we've got, we've all got some excitement there, I'm sure, with that. And I don't know, but what do y'all think is coming from DJI? Do y'all think it's going to be, like y'all mentioned tonight, do you think it's going to be the Phantom X? Or do you think it's going to be the Mavic Pro 2? Or do you think it's going to be something completely different? I mean, keep in mind, DJI did acquire Hasselblad. And Hasselblad is that super duper high-end, mega high-end camera company. So, you know, to my knowledge, DJI has not released anything that would take advantage of that new relationship that they got, you know, by acquiring Hasselblad. So, yeah, that's... Sean says consumer grade Inspire. Well, if they do release a consumer grade Inspire, it needs to be smaller. It needs to be more lightweight. You know, something so big and so heavy. And again, I've kind of got my opinion of the Inspire may be due to the fact that I'm a travel blogger. So, you know, I'll go out and travel and document the experiences. And obviously, when you're traveling, you know, you're typically, even if you're not traveling with cameras and drones, when you travel, you're typically as light as possible. And you know, so for that reason, to have an Inspire, it's just not convenient. Let's see. Echo Hobby says a whole new quad, I bet. Sean says, he said retractable landing gear. And message retracted. I think a drone from DJI with retractable landing gear could be a game changer. Yeah, modular camera with raised landing gear. I would like that too, and I would like, and I don't know why they've stayed away from it, I would like to see a drone with a 360-degree spherical camera. And 360-degree video or spherical, whatever you want to call it, those two terms are used interchangeably. It's like it's kind of a just a weird space. It's like people are afraid of it, whether it's a drone company. You know, Apple went all in. They went in and, you know, they marketed their new, well, I say new, it's been out for many months now, but their current model iMac Pro, they were gearing that totally towards, well, not totally, but heavily towards VR development. And I don't get why there's not more interest in VR 360 degree. Because, I mean, now you can edit, yeah, I did see the 360 fly drone. That was pretty cool. But yeah, there's not as much interest in that technology as I would have hoped there would have been, because, I mean, a drone's a perfect reason to use a 360 camera. I mean, you can fly and document the experience in, you know, in all angles, and I mean, that's super cool. And, you know, think about the future of and this is something, and, you know, I'm wanting to bring, I'd like to bring this to market, but looking at 360-degree video and VR, virtual reality, what I would like to do is bring, so to consider this, and this is where a drone could come into play, this is where a handheld gimbal system could come into play, or it wouldn't even have to be a gimbal for VR, but, you know, imagine you go to an area and you film it in 360-degree spherical. So now you've captured that area in 360-degree spherical format. So in essence, what I would like to do is create an experience. So, you know, travel review sites. You think of traveling, it's like, oh, you know, I can go online to, and I use TripAdvisor heavily, but, you know, whatever site you may use, TripAdvisor, Expedia, doesn't matter. But you read people's reviews, and you base your decision upon whether you should travel somewhere, probably unknown, you've probably never been there, but you're basing that decision upon what's in the review. But think about VR or 360. So if I went to a place, and I go to a lot of places, and I took a VR camera, and I document the experience, you know, how do you get to the beach from the rental property? How do you get to the restaurant from the rental property? How do you get to the car rental? How do you get from the airport to the rental property? I document all of that with a 360 camera. Then what I can do is provide the customer, well, I'm saying customer, website visitor, app user, whatever, with the ability to virtually travel to that destination before they physically go there. So in other words, step back and think about this. You're going to, let's just make up a fictitious location. So it's an island in the Caribbean. And it's a pretty small island, but it's still pretty decent size. So I went there and I videoed the entire island. So now when you're planning your trip, you can look at my videos, not just look at the videos, but you can put on a VR headset and you can experience that travel. You can virtually go from all points on that island. So you can go from the airport to your rental property. You can go from your rental property to the beach. You want to get something to eat? How do you get from the beach to the shower at the beach, and then to the well, obviously I wouldn't film in the shower, but how do you get from point A to point B, various points? So that would be a great use case for VR, and that's VR video captured with both a with a handheld camera, maybe vehicle mounted camera, but also a drone, because in that scenario, the aerial videos would be of a lot of value, because you could capture everything that's available on that island, and in essence, someone with VR headset on could explore that entire island. Now, obviously, they would be limited to exploring what I had filmed, but everything that I filmed, they would be open to explore. So when they get off of that plane, it's like they've been there, because they were there virtually by way of VR. But now they're there physically. So, the things that I captured in the VR video, maybe a guy on the side of the road selling shave ice, maybe his stand's not open like it was when I was there. But when you're there and you're experiencing the same thing, maybe there's a hot dog vendor in that stand instead. But whatever the case may be, when you drive past that stand in real life, you're like, oh, I remember that. That was a shave ice stand in IrixGuy's video. So that's where I'm going with this. And that's why I think VR is such a useful technology that people have not yet taken full advantage of. Tech for Your Needs says 360-degree video is not there yet. Let me explain. The clarity is there from the videos that I saw. Yeah. The thing with VR right now is that to get like, let's say, I film everything in 4K. So say to get 4K quality, because of the way that VR stitches everything together, to get 4K, you're going to be filming it a lot greater than 4K. And that gets turbo expensive, cost prohibitive. So the technology's not there yet. My fear is that this won't evolve quickly enough. People will lose interest, and we'll see the death of VR. And VR's got so many useful use cases that we hadn't even thought about yet. Nazmul says, good morning, welcome aboard. Echo Hobby says, do you think DJI will focus only on folding quads for the consumer market from now on? I think the Phantom has run its course. Well, the Phantom is still, from a name recognition perspective, and people that don't even know drones, if you pass somebody random on the street and ask them if they know what a drone is, they're like, well, I've never flown one, but isn't that little thing that's white, it's got the 4 little arms sticking out? They probably have a mental image of a DJI Phantom in their head. So, it's the drone that, without a doubt, started, and now actually Parrot had the AR drones before DJI, but DJI was the drone that arguably started the drone addiction that we all have. But I think, I think folding is probably the new trend, and I like that. And I mean, if it can be more portable and more lightweight, that's a total win. But what we may see, like the Inspire line, may see it become discontinued, and then see the more portable and more lightweight, but not ultra portable, DJI Phantom line, assume some more professional responsibilities, like capabilities rather, like being able to have interchangeable cameras, maybe some sort of Hasselblad camera would be cool. I hear a squirrel, and Sean Connery's getting up. There's a squirrel. Whoa. Tim says, I don't think the Autel Evo is going to trump the Mavic. Not with half-mile range. Yeah. Well, I hope that Autel Evo does well, just for the sake of competition. But, I mean, DJI's got years of experience. DJI's got years of refinement. And DJI's got a mission to continue to evolve. So it's going to be a tough battle. I mean, even somebody like like a GoPro. I mean, GoPro unfortunately failed. I mean, it's I don't know. My assumption is that we may see a company like Apple or Microsoft or Google. Maybe they're watching from the sidelines, and maybe they'll step up and try to buy out DJI. Could you imagine that if Apple bought DJI and then they started to further refine all of DJI's technologies? I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Well, I think I'm going to take advantage of some Amazon Prime movies, and we will regroup, because there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about with the Evo and the Anafi, and then also that the new DJI drone that's coming out. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, check out as the shirt reads right here, epicdroneshow.com. You can go to epicdroneshow.com, find all of the latest drones, accessories, tutorials, and a whole lot more. That's my website, and I appreciate your support. Again, thanks for tuning in live. This is super cool to have such a large audience, and let's continue to have fun with this. And I plan to have another live show very soon, especially as we get as soon as I get my hands on the Anafi. I'm hoping to have that towards the beginning of July. It'd be great if it shipped sooner, but I doubt that'll happen. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and you'll be able to find this previously recorded show on epicdroneshow.com, as well as all the other Epic Drone Show episodes. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day. And let me see where I can find my thing here, my control panel. There we go. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow.